Hello students, today we are going to start our second lesson of history from trade to territory. Trade is business, we can say. Territory is area or a region. In the last class we have read that Aurangzeb was the last most powerful emperor of a Mughal dynasty and he died in 1707. After that his successors were very weak and they could not hold together their empire, and number of states we have also read that Awadh, Bengal and Hyderabad, they declared themselves independent and they freed themselves from the clutches of the Mughal empire or emperor. In this way they were independent. It means that his poor and weak successors proved a cause of downfall of the Mughal dynasty. During this time, a new political power was emerging. That was the Britishers or the English. They reached India and just for trade. For the first, they came only for trade. They wanted to trade India, but they soon realized that the trade will not going to be enough without occupying the territory. So they changed their position, and in this way, in this lesson, we will come to know how the Britishers who were here only for business, they occupied the whole of the subcontinent. So we would start with the East India Company. East India Company was a trading company of England or British. They acquired an order or we can say a charter which is written in the book. According to that, no other trading company could trade with eastern countries and only East India could trade with India. That is why one of the reasons was so that there would be no competition and they could easily buy the things at cheaper rate and sell them at higher rates in Europe. In this way they wanted to do so, but they did not know that in India three foreign powers were already there: French, Dutch and Portuguese. They were already there in India, and Vasco de Gama reached India in 1498. He reached in Kerala at present, known as, then the place was known as Calicut, and then what happened that all the four foreign powers, they were interested in buying goods, that is fine cotton, silk and spices, pepper, clove, cardamom and cinnamon, and for it they have a fierce competition among themselves, and soon they were fighting with each other, and British proved to be superior than the others, and the British government, or you can say the East India Company, started its functioning in India. And you must remember that East India Company reached in India 1600, that is 1600. East India Company reached India, and they first of all reached in Bengal, and they set up their first industry, or you can say first factory on the bank of Hooghly river, and then they started to consolidate their powers or their position. First of all, they fought a war, or you can say a battle, the Battle of Plassey. The Battle of Plassey was fought between the Britishers and Nawab of Bengal, Nawab Sirajuddaulah in 1757. The Britisher or East India Company won the battle and they established their puppet king. And after that there was a battle of Buxar. It was fought in 1764. The Battle of Buxar was fought in 1764. And after that the British realized that they will have to occupy a number of territories so that they could continue their trade. And after that they again consolidated their position by acquiring the Diwani rights from the Mughal Emperor in 1765. In 1765, the English or East India Company was appointed the Diwan of Bengal or the province of Bengal. It was an advantage that Diwani means that the having the right to collect revenue and taxes. Now the advantage was that the Britishers who first or previously used to bring gold and silver from their country, and they would pay that gold and silver to Indian traders and buy goods and went back to their country. But now what happened? As they got the power or they got the right to collect revenue, they collected money or tax or revenue from Bengal. They paid that money to the traders to buy the goods they want to buy, and also it was useful, or the revenue was also used in maintaining their army, their offices also. In this way, now the Britishers or the English, they had to bring nothing from their country to India. They would come empty handed in India, collect taxes from Indians and pay that money to the Indian traders and went back with the goods they want to. In this way, it proved to be a boon, or the right to Diwani or the Diwani rights which they got from the Mughal Emperor in 1765 proved to be a boon for them. After that, they started consolidating their position in India, and they started a number of, or they adopted a number of methods. One was the appointment of residents. The English or the Britishers, they appointed residents in the court of Indian states or ruler of Indian states. His work was to be work as an agent of the Britishers, and he would interfere in the political affair of the ruler. He would decide who would be the next successor and who are the people who could be appointed to the higher post. In this way, he was making the company presence felt in the court of the kings. Other was the method was subsidiary alliance. According to this policy, the Indian rulers were not allowed to have their own independent army or armed forces. They were protected by the army of the company, and in return the king would pay some money to the army. And suppose if that king would not pay them any money, then in return the English would annex a part of their territory. In this way, they began to consolidate their territory. Another way was a policy of paramountcy. Paramountcy means supremacy. They declared that they were more powerful than the Indian kings, and they began to annex the area which they like to for the interest of their company. Paramountcy was the policy according to which they declared that they were the most powerful, they were more powerful than the Indian rulers, and they would annex any part or any territory of Indian kings which they like, and they faced no opposition at all, because Indian rulers also knew that they were not as powerful as the English. Next was the doctrine of lapse. Lord Dalhousie, who was Governor General in India, he started this policy, doctrine of lapse. According to this, if any ruler would die without a male heir, his successor, then his kingdom would lapse and it would be joined with the area or the territory of the company. In this way, Satara, Nagpur, Sambalpur, Jhansi were annexed from the rulers according to this doctrine, and Awadh was also annexed from the ruler by stating that the ruler was not making good government, misgovernment was because of the misgovernment. The English or the Britisher or the company annexed that piece of territory from the Awadh king. So in this way, they were consolidating their position in India. So it is not also true that they were not facing any problem or they were not facing any opposition from anyone. Opposition was there. The biggest opposition was in Karnataka in the shape of Tipu Sultan. Tipu Sultan was known as Tiger of Mysore. Tipu Sultan was known as Tiger of Mysore. Before him, his father Hyder Ali. He ruled from 1761 onward. Hyder Ali was also a powerful ruler and he continued to be there in till 82. And after his death, Tipu Sultan became the ruler and he ruled up to 1799. As he did not accept the supremacy of the Britisher or the English, there were war between them. They fought 4 wars, and in the last war, in 1799, Tipu Sultan was killed. Another opposition which the English or the Britisher faced was again in Karnataka, Mysore, which is now known as Karnataka. There was a place known as Kittur. There, Rani Chennamma, she also opposed or fought with the Britisher, and she was arrested in 1724. 1824 she was arrested and she was sent to imprisonment, and there she died in this. Then again there was some opposition or oppose therefore in the shape of the Marathas. Maratha, whose position was quite sound till the third battle of Panipat. Third battle of Panipat was fought in 1761, and this was fought between the Marathas and Ahmad Shah Abdali. Ahmad Shah Abdali won the battle and he left. After that, the Marathas were divided into number of small states, and the English or the East India Company and Maratha, they fought 3 wars, or you can say 3 battles or 3 wars, and last war was in and which was won by the Britishers or the ruler East India Company, and it means that they occupied a lot of territory. And in Punjab, till then it was the rule of Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Maharaja Ranjit Singh died in 1839. After his death, his kingdom was again spread or skittered away or scattered. Number of small states were there, and the English annexed Punjab by 1849. The whole of Punjab was annexed by the Britisher by 1849. In this way, the British tried to, and they were successful quite a lot in taking the lot of territory in India. After consolidating their position in India, they tried to set up new type of administration. They divided their country, or rather their territory, in 3 presidencies: Bengal, Madras and Bombay. Bengal, Madras and Bombay, 3 presidencies they established. Instead of, as the Indian rulers were establishing subas or state, you can say, they established presidencies. 3 presidencies were Bengal, Bombay and Madras. So they started their rule from these 3 presidencies, and then there was DC, deputy collector, and they appointed number of pandits and qazis to interpret Hindu law and Muslim law, and according to which they began to rule India. Again, they made a number of changes in their army or the way they fought, and in the end, they by then, or say by 1856, they were occupying about 63% of the territory of India, and more than 63%, or we can say that lot of area under the Britisher, and also lot of rulers. The rulers they fought, or the rulers they also fought for the Britisher, and they did not accept the supremacy of others, and it is said that about 78% of the total population was under the Britisher, and in this way they tried to rule India, or in which you can say that the Britisher or the East India Company got their position in India, and the company which came to India just for a trade, and they became the master of such a vast empire. So next day we are going to do it topic by topic. It was the introduction of this lesson. Please read this lesson 2 times and you will easily understand. Thank you.